Assalamualaikum class. So what we are going to do is Assalamualaikum class. So I'm going to answer the questions, and I'm also going to tell you which concepts have been used, right? So you should be able to know, you should be by practice. Assalamualaikum class. So by practicing questions, you'll be able to know where do you have to apply which concept, right? So for question number 1, where it says which 3 things give out their own light. So over here, they're basically testing your concept of luminous and non-luminous objects, right? So we know something that gives out light is a luminous object, and something that does not give out light is called a non-luminous object. You will be drawing circles around the things which you think is a luminous object, right? So you're going to draw circles around those which you think are luminous objects. The sun is a luminous object, a lamp is a luminous object, burning candle is a luminous object, tree does not produce light, gate does not produce light, mirror, even though it looks shiny and bright, but it does not produce light, switch does not produce light, but rather the bulb produces light, right? So please do not confuse it. Okay. Moving on to the other question. The other one is which source gives out the brightest light? So we know that bulb gives out the brightest light compared to candle and the burning matchstick. Now draw a ray of light on this diagram to show how the boy can see the light. Put an arrow on your light ray to show which way the light travels. Okay, so over here, they're testing your concept. So you know that light ray travels in a straight line. Embedded in your mind that light ray is always going to travel in a straight line, right? So, and the other question the other concept that they are basically testing over here is how do you see the light source? So remember, the way through which we can see a light source is that the light basically, when travels in a straight line, it directly enters your eyes. That is why you can see the light source, right? But this is only, of course, when the light, when the bulb is turned on, right? So the light which is being produced travels in a straight line and reaches the human eye, right? Now, the thing is, what if we have, what if we have a wooden block, right? What if we have a wooden block in place of a bulb? So how are you then going to see the light? So of course, you can, since this wood does not produce a light, so no light ray is directly going to come from here, but rather you'll be needing a sun, right, or a light source. And what is it going to do? It is basically going to, okay. So a light ray is basically first going to fall on this, and then from there it is going to enter in your eyes, right? So basically, the fact that you can see a wooden box is because of the fact that there's a light source. The light from the source is incident on this wooden block, and from that it gets reflected and enters our eyes. So remember that in order to see non-luminous objects, or the objects which do not produce their own light, we need the concept of reflection over there, right? So what are we going to need? We need the concept of reflection. So reflection comes where we see non-luminous objects, right? So through the process of reflection, we are able to see the non-luminous objects. And if we talk about light sources or the luminous objects, the light ray can directly enter our eye, right? So I hope it is clear. So you know that light is directly going to enter the eyes of a human. Okay, now I'm going to clear this. Okay. I hope this concept is clear. Now, question number 4 is which of the 3 statements about light are correct, right? So which of the three sentences are correct? Light can travel through air. Of course, light can travel through air. That's why, when we have the bulb turned on in a room, and we know our room is not a vacuum, right? It has air. So we can see objects because of the fact that light travels and then it gets reflected or it bounces off the object. Light cannot travel through glass. So now glass is basically transparent in nature, right? So light can easily pass through the glass. So we can say that light does travel through the glass, and light can travel through the air as well. So this one, part B, is going to be wrong, right? So this one, we're going to rule this out. Light cannot travel through the brick walls. Now, brick wall is basically an opaque object, right? So from opaque objects, light cannot travel. So this is true, right? So this is true and this is true. I'm going to use a different color for this. So this one is true and this one is also true. Now, mirror reflects light. We know that. No light bounces off dull surface, and that's wrong because remember, light or the process of reflection takes place on every object, whether it's bright or it's dull, right? Even a human body reflects light. Even the carpet, the clothes, they all reflect light. Now, so this is wrong. Glowing wires do not give out light, and this is also wrong, right? So we're going to say that these two options are wrong. So this one is light. Light can travel through air. Light cannot travel through brick walls, and mirrors can reflect light. So all these three options are right. Now question number 5 is, Jazz shines a torch at different things. Which two things could make a dark shadow? Tick 2 boxes, right? So remember that shadow, the fact that, so over here what they're testing is, they're testing your concept of the formation of shadow. Remember, shadow forms because light travels in a straight line. And so basically, I'm going to show that to you. So light travels in a straight line, and when there's an opaque object, so object that does not allow the light to pass through, so this light ray gets scattered, right? So when there'll be no light reaching over here on the screen, so when no light will reach on the screen, then a dark shadow is going to form over here, right? Because this light ray cannot reach the screen. Whereas if you talk about this, then of course, the light ray, since it is transparent, so the light will be able to pass through this glass. Just like that, light will be able to pass through this, and there will be no shadow because it's transparent. But if for this book, we know, that the book is not transparent, neither it is translucent. So through it, light cannot pass, rather light will get scattered, right? So light cannot pass through this. So this one, right, and this one. Since these two objects are opaque, so we are going to say object number 1, which is a mug, and object number 4, which is a book, will form the darkest shadows. So they are going to form the darkest shadows. Okay. Now, explain why these two things make shadows. So these two things make shadows because they're opaque in nature, and opaque objects do not let the light to pass through them. Finish drawing the two rays of the light to show how dog makes a shadow on the wall. Remember, class, I'm repeating it again and again, that shadows are formed because light travels in a straight line, and when there's an opaque object in between the light source and the screen, so this wall is a screen. When there's an opaque object, this dog, which is an opaque object, is placed in between the light source and the screen, then this basically stops the light from reaching that, right? So what is going to happen? This opaque object comes, right? So this is the light is going to get scattered. Now I'm going to stretch this into a straight line. So we have to make a straight line, remember. So we're going to make a straight line. So it does reach the wall, but some of the lights, right? For example, if I make a light over here, this is not going to reach it, so this is going to get scattered. The light rays which will basically hit the body of the dog will get scattered away. And the other light ray, for example, the one coming from here, can reach the screen, right? Because over there, there's no dog, but rather there's air, so it can reach the screen. So you just were supposed to make these two lines. So you should make sure that only the straight line basically is extended from each of these arrows. So when this straight line is extended, there's a dog body, so it gets reflected. When this straight line is extended, it is able to reach the screen. That is why the shadow that is formed is basically is of the shape of the object. Okay, now Gina can see a reflection of herself in a mirror. Draw a ray of light to show how she can see her feet. Put arrows on your light rays to show which way the light is traveling. Okay, so arrowhead basically shows the the direction. Now I'm going to do it like this. So what I'm going to first do is remember, so Gina is basically a non-luminous object, right? So it is not going to produce its own light. So what do we need first is pause it for a second and then think about what exactly do you need to see the image. So remember, in order to see non-luminous object, I just discussed, you need a light source. So first, there needs to be a light source. Now this light is basically, this light is going to be incident on her feet. Okay? So I had to use an arrow, so I can use a different color over here. Let's use a black one, right? So light travels in a straight line and is incident on her feet, and then, right, just like that on the second feet as well, second one as well. Now, from here, it will get reflected on the mirror, and then from the mirror, it will get reflected and enter into our eyes, right? I'm going to make this again so that it gets clear. So first I'm going to make a light source. Right? So light from here travels in a straight line. Okay, I should have used the arrow one. So light travels in a straight line, and then from here it gets reflected, because I told you reflection even takes place on your dull surfaces, and then it's going to this ray is going to hit the mirror, and from there it is going to be reflected again and enter into our eyes. So I hope you understand now. Okay, now I'm going to clear all the drawings. I hope the concept is now clear. So over here they tested your concept. How does reflection take place for non-luminous objects? Over here, they basically tested your concept of the formation of shadow. Shadow forms when light travels in a straight line, and then it is hindered or blocked by some opaque object. Then over here, they wanted you to know that which objects form the dark shadows, and the so objects which block maximum amount of light obviously can produce dark shadows. So opaque objects are the ones. And then over here, they wanted to test whether you know the properties of the light or not. Over here, they wanted to test a concept that can you tell how does the light from the light source enter, how can you view the luminous objects? So the answer is that, light travels in a straight line directly from the source of light to the eyes. Then over here, they wanted you to tell which one gives out the brightest light. Over here, they wanted you to differentiate between luminous and non-luminous objects. That's it.